Booked and busy. I want to sleep so bad. Welcome back, Honey Bunch. Play the music. If you're new here, my name is Nico, and I'm here to help you break into the acting industry and live your best life. Bypass all that people say you have to do in order to make it in this industry. So you're here because you're curious about what an actor's career generally looks like. I got you. First, it's time for some updates. So those of you who follow me on IG already know that I've been booked and busy for a few weeks now. I'm smack dab in the middle of filming a dope ass feature film, and I can't wait to share with you all what it is because it's I posted a tiny baby hint on my Instagram, so maybe you can figure it out. Also, my hair is like this because I have a couple of tapes to film right after I film this video. Also, I have my nails done, which if you know me is very just not me. I'm usually bare, I usually have to go short, but I grew them out and they're red, which I'm all about neutrals, so you know what we gotta do for our character, living their life. Before we dive deep, I also need to remind you of my Giving Tuesday. This week's went out to Black Trans Coalition. They're a national organization that aims to improve the Black transgender experience by working daily to end poverty and end health, housing, and employment inequality through peace building, community education, and empowerment programs. And there are links down below if you'd like to donate. This is the career path that generally applies to most actors. Of course, there are tons of exceptions when actors who are very green to the industry are catapulted to stardom by booking a major role in a studio feature or landing a series regular without having any credits or experience. It happens. But generally speaking, here is what you can expect. And if you stick around all the way to the very end, I'll be revealing what my career trajectory has looked like thus far and what tier I believe I'm in. First starting out in the industry, you'll probably be working for copy credit meals. This means the gig won't be paying, but generally you'll be able to see the finished product. You'll be credited on either IMDb or in the credits of the actual project or both. And instead of getting paid in green, you get paid in meals, which in my experience has like always been pizza or like some kind of sub shop. Generally, these projects are very low budget, they're non-union, and they include your student films, your local commercials, and indie projects. Sometimes in this tier, it's just so hard to get your footage from the project once you wrap, so I always recommend people to stay in contact with the directors, stay in contact with the producer, so that when it's finished, you can be like, hey, I want my footage. You deserve it. You worked for it for free. The tier right after copy credit meals. On these projects though, you should still be receiving copy credit meals. These projects still tend to be non-union, but the key word here is paid work. Once you reach this tier, you're officially being paid for your work as an actor. The trick of this tier, however, is to learn when to say no to projects that are non-paying that still may want to hire you. It's kind of hard to figure out when to say no and to realize, okay, now I only need to accept paying work. But more on that in another video. Work tends to be union. You'll be getting paid for your work, credited on IMDb, and you'll be fed your meals, which are usually pretty good. Booking a co-star though can be like so difficult because generally the audition for a co-star role is like 1 to 5 lines. So you've got to create an entire life out of 1 to 5 lines that you're given. But hey, once you do book that first one, other ones you're just gonna keep rolling it. It's all about that first one, trust me. When you book a co-star, you usually only work 1 day, but when you book a co-star, if it's on network, you get paid residuals, and those residuals can add up. So a residual is what an actor gets paid every time a project airs. So for the first time a project will air, it'll be like the most that residual that you'll get for that. And then every time after that, it slowly diminishes away. If you booked a co-star on a streaming platform like Hulu or Netflix, then that residual process and it's an entirely different story. But it's not uncommon for actors to make 5 to 10 grand or even more off of one co-star role where you maybe said 1 line just based off of those visuals. Booking a principal role in an indie or even a small role in a studio feature can catapult you to the very next tier. Once the work comes, and if you're consistent with your craft and you're staying in class, you won't stop working. So you've done some co-star work, you've done a few films, maybe a few commercials, and now you feel like you're ready to say no to co-stars and focus solely on booking guest star work. You can do it. This is your tier. A guest star is a bigger role on a TV show. Sometimes you could even have multiple episodes. Usually a guest star will have a few major scenes along the series regulars, and you'll usually be working for an entire week or more depending on the project. And again, you guessed it, the residuals. It's all about booking that first one and then saying no to work that is below your current tier so that you can continue to grow and move forward. Having growth in your career is always all about looking ahead. You have to keep in mind what your resume looks like too, and what roles and shows are truly on brand for you. Series regulars generally tend to make anywhere between 20 to 30K an episode starting out in the first season, if it's on network. Now, it could be way more, that's just like the general starting range. And then each season, you have the opportunity to renegotiate your contract and get a few bumps in your pay. Recurring guest star status means that you have been booked throughout the season. Production will email you the outside episode dates, and you can go on your merry way continuing to audition for other projects. And of course, studio features. Booking a major role in a studio feature can catapult you to celebrity status and completely change your life. Look at the actors from Booksmart, or any of the actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when the films were first starting out. This is the tier that most actors think, okay, I could just land a series, I'm good. Like, I've made it. Well, yes, that's true. I'm here to tell you to enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride. It will only happen once, and you want to have longevity in your career. And in order to do that, you need to love your craft, enough so to make it through all of the highs and lows. After that, you're a celebrity. Okay, so here is how my career has shaped out thus far. So in 2015, I started auditioning for films. Before then, I was being trained in the theater. So I did a lot of unpaid work for like independent features, student films, and short films. I did some paid union work for shows like Banshee that were shooting in North Carolina at the time. And I started collecting some of my SAG vouchers from doing union background work, just in case I wanted to join the union that way, instead of waiting to book my first network co-star. Although I wouldn't necessarily recommend joining the union just based solely off of background work, but that's another video as well. Continuing on, my first ever paying gig that I had speaking lines for was for this Amazon Prime film called Unbridled, starring Eric Roberts. I believe that was in the winter of 2016. That summer, I was still auditioning for, co-stars, trying to book my first one. I actually ended up booking my first commercial that summer. It was regional, it was non-union, but it was paying work. Then I continued to do some short films that were non-paying. I did some features still that were non-paying, but I was like principal roles. I continued to do all of that until I landed my first co-star role on Homicide Hunters, which is this like crime reenactment TV show. And after that, even though it wasn't like network or anything, but after that I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm done doing non-paying work. I think I'm at the point where I can say no to not paying work. I'm happy with how my demo reel looks. I'm happy with how my resume looks. I'm happy with the connections I've made. I think I'm ready to say no. So after that, I kept auditioning until I finally landed the role that would change my career trajectory forever. I landed my recurring role on Ava DuVernay's Queen Sugar. I was doing the show for a total of 12 episodes over 2 seasons. After that, I was a supporting role in a feature with Ron Perlman. I did 3 national commercials, 1 video game trailer, a SAG short film starring Jamie King that's doing the festival circuit right now, a series regular on Facebook Watch show called The Birch, that Kiki Palmer FabFitFun commercial, and now this amazing supporting role in this super cool feature film that I wish I could tell you more about, and I wish I could tell you who's starring in it and directing it, because it's just right now, I believe that I'm in between tiers 4 and 5. My goal now is I would love to book a recurring guest star on one of my on-brand shows. I'd love to be a series regular on a network show. Anything Ryan Murphy, like I'm all about. But for now, my ass is remaining in class, working on my craft and celebrating my wins along the way, and I encourage you to do the same. Alrighty, that's it. I really hope that you found this video helpful. Please comment down below and let me know what tier you believe that you're in and why. I find that doing this really puts everything into perspective and you get that like big picture vibe, if you know what I'm saying. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. If you have any questions, please drop them below because I pretty much respond to all my questions that I get. And I'll see you Thursday after next. Bye.